Sandy Duckett. I'm CEO of We Are Hope Incorporated.
All right, Sandy. And yesterday you gave a presentation about the burden that millennials are kind of facing when they leave college
Right.
with student loan debt. And I know obviously we have some younger people here that are still maybe paying off some of that student loan debt. What did your survey that you did kind of show?
Well, it's very interesting. First of all, we received comments from 19 other states. So most of them were in Wisconsin, but this is not only a local or national, a local or regional issue, it's a national issue because the changes we've made in education, the changes we've made in financing education has certainly created a burden not only for young people, but for the baby boomers as well. The cost of education has increased over 1,120%. No other industry in our country has seen the increase in cost to education. We seem to be ratcheting up how many more credits we need in order to graduate. There's a lot more degrees, a lot more colleges and universities out there that are looking for students and those tuition dollars. And there's so many choices that many people are not quite sure where they want to go, what they want to do. So we need to maybe slow down and provide better information so individuals are making better decisions. Education is really important, and it still opens up a lot of doors. However, most people, it seems that we've seen a significant shift of 36% of young people now live at home with their parents. We heard that 20% of them cannot get loans, cannot purchase homes, cannot start their lives. It is affecting many of those other industries, such as home ownership. It's at the lowest level since 1989. It's affecting their purchasing power. A lot of people felt that they were drowning in debt. They don't know how they're going to save not only for their own retirement, but also how to help their children. And this isn't the way it's supposed to be. It really isn't the way that it's supposed to be. And we have started to meet with many high schools in the area. I know we met with one high school last week, and one of the students, a senior, gave us a 1 out of a scale of 1 to 5. And the reason she gave us a 1 was, how come I didn't hear about this earlier? I graduate in 2 weeks. So it's not the fault of the PK through 12. They have so many pressure points on them, but there is no way that one counselor or a couple of counselors can meet with every individual and help guide them to making better decisions about their educational choices. So we've got to do things better. We also need to have our legislators get on board and see some leadership from them. Because in 2010, we changed the financial aid process. It's now very similar to subprime loans. People cannot refinance, they cannot get rid of this debt. And even when you've made bad financial decisions and anything else, you have the opportunity to get back on your feet. We have seen many people through this study who have felt buried and don't know which way to turn.
All right, and you mentioned earlier there's been a lot of changes in how colleges have operated and how people are able to finance their educations. Can you kind of go into that and maybe kind of link the two together?
Well, sure. I think what was really interesting, even for myself when we started to do this study, is the Department of Public Instruction is not responsible for accreditation. And why that is important is because there are many institutions out there that say they're accredited, but may not be. It may not be recognized as being a licensed profession. For example, we had a person who graduated with a CAD degree, which is computer automation programming. They're in high demand. They're in high demand. Her education isn't recognized, and she now has $61,000 in debt and can't utilize those credits or transfer them to an academic setting that would give her the credentials. So the regulations in accreditation and how we recognize education is another thing that's very concerning. I've talked to young people after, and they said, well, I'm accepted to 2 colleges. One's only $13,000 more than the other. Well, that's $52,000 by the time you graduate. We've got to do a better job of connecting the dots and demonstrating what the value is of the education and degree that you need. And we also share with individuals, if you go to college, don't start looking for an internship when you're a junior and senior. You have to start looking for an internship when you're a freshman and sophomore. That the connection between work experience and education is really, really important.
All right, and I think one of the big things that I heard, and I know I was about $20,000 in debt, lived at home, like you said, part of some of those statistics that you said, but average debt is $30,000 right now, I thought I saw.
Yes, and it's growing, I cannot tell you how many people who have shared with me that they have 6 figures in college debt. And in essence, it's not their fault. And why I say it's not their fault, if we take a step back and think about how we made decisions when we were 18, 19 years old. They are instructed to fill out financial aid as the first thing to do. And the complexity of the financial aid and the complexity of the loan program is not easily understood by an 18-year-old or even their parents. So to say, well, that's their fault, and I think some people get frustrated because it's happened, I don't know if anybody else would have done it any differently because we've made these significant changes. When most of us, even 10 or 15 years ago, went back to college, the average interest rate was 1.9%. It's now 6.21%. And for a Parents Plus loan, it's 7.21%. So that's a significant change. And not only has the cost gone up 1,120%, the interest rate has gone up, and the amount of credits that people need in order to graduate, and the ability to get into the workforce. Those are all prerequisites now. Is you need to have post-secondary education for 6 out of the 10 jobs today. So we've pretty much tightened the decision-making process for individuals. You have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. But we're not there to really provide the education and resources to help them make better decisions and to let them know the decisions in high demand. It was really interesting. I talked with a reporter after, and she said, well, I have significant debt, but I don't want to be in a program that's in high demand. What would you have told me if I wanted to get into broadcasting and news? And I said, well, I probably would have shared with you that you needed to start writing and posting when you were probably a junior in high school, and to continue down that path until you graduate, and to do as many internships with broadcasting and news media as possible. And it was going to be a really difficult road ahead. And I said, did anybody share that with you? And she said no. So that's what I think we are trying to bring forward. Most parents and young people are very worried and nervous about this upcoming, about their children and their grandchildren. We have a great partnership with Money Management, and we're not duplicating what they do. Gail Pustaver does a great job of helping people understand the financing. What we do is trying to connect those individuals with the jobs that are available and provide some funding to help them in those careers. There are certain programs that if you meet some of the prerequisites, there's up to $5,000 available through the job center if they go into trainings and programs in high demand. I think many people do not know the important services that are available through the job centers. And one of the things that the Matuzek and Associates study recognized was the work of the job centers and the conversations that she does. A lot of focus groups with the millennium generation. And she said they're frustrated because she said one comment that came out of a focus group was from a young woman, and the rest of them all agreed that everybody assumes that that generation wants to get their information from an app and internet. And she said what we really want is to talk to people, to understand better. It's a tool. It's not the end result. And we have not supported that kind of network for them to really make better decisions.
All right, and you're able to identify a lot of different problems. Solutions. What can legislators do now? What can millennials do now to maybe approach that debt a little bit differently? Just maybe some steps. So maybe hopefully in the future things could change a little bit. I mean, colleges can even change a little bit too, from what I'm understanding.
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, if you have college debt, I think there should be an all-out campaign to contact your federal legislators, because this, first of all, is a federal issue. We can talk all we want about the state on student debt, but we can't do a thing. It starts at the federal level. Number two, and our federal legislators, because this isn't a partisan issue. It affects every American. We have to have them look at what they've done in 2010 and make some significant changes to that program. Allow financial institutions to help these individuals refinance, to give people the opportunity to get better situated, and look at the interest rate. My goodness, 6.21%. The amount of debt that I'm hearing was more than my first 2 homes together. It's staggering. It's just so staggering.
And that's for, I was a communication major. I mean, granted, I went from Illinois, came to Wisconsin, so I had my out-of-state tuition. But, I mean, there's fields that, you can stay in-state. And if you want to be a lawyer, I mean, yeah, that's where you see those triple figures that would almost make me cry and not even want to get into that profession.
Right. Well, and it's not just the attorneys and the health profession. These are loans that I'm hearing significantly that are at $50,000, $60,000 as well. I talked with an individual who went back to college when she was 47, got her LPN degree, and said, I'll probably be paying for that student loan until I retire. That's not right. It's just not right. And she's a wonderful nurse. She's great at what she does. But you feel like when you go to education, it's supposed to open doors, and it is. But when it also creates a financial burden for you, it's not creating the results that we all had anticipated. And it really is impacting our economy, because the next generation that is supposed to be creating wealth is paying for student loans instead. And it's not an asset, it's a liability, and they're not able to create wealth.
All right, anything else that you want to add about your presentation? Is there a place where maybe people can kind of find your findings?
Yes, we will probably be posting them on our website. First and foremost, I want, if you're not sure what you want to do, if you have young people who have just graduated from high school and not sure where they need to go, or whether they're making the right decision. You can have them come into the job center and learn about the careers in high demand, see if there's a program that can help finance them. We also inform them about other scholarships that are available. I know the Door County Community Foundation has started a scholarship program, and we're trying to connect the dots. I guess there's a lot of resources, but how do all the systems work? And we're trying to, I guess, break it down so people have a better understanding of how the systems work, so they can work more fluently through it and reduce their cost. So come to the job center, because that's what we're there for.